All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. Well, might I add, the award-winning Adams Brothers Podcast. We'd like to welcome everybody here this afternoon. We are joined here this afternoon with Rochelle Shelly Soffer, but everybody calls her Shelly. So we're going to call her Shelly, but we're going to introduce her as Rochelle Shelly Soffer. She is a school teacher at Deerfield Beach High School. The Mighty Bucks, go Bucks!
Mighty Bucks,
which we are proud to be alumni of Deerfield Beach High School. Go Bucks!
Class of 1984 for me.
And 1986 here. Shelly Soffer is a candidate for Broward County School Board District 7, and her name will appear on the August 18th primary election ballot, and you can also vote for her during early voting, which started on August the 8th and will go through the 16th. So we'd like to welcome Miss Rochelle Shelly Soffer to the Adams Brothers Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I was about to jam there for a minute. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, we try to give them a little intro music to get them a little pepped up. We want you to be comfortable on our podcast.
Yeah, be comfortable too.
We don't bite. We're very approachable in public. So I'm sure you're going to do good, So for the people out there that don't know Rochelle Shelly Soffer, just tell them a little bit about you or whatever you want the voters of Broward County to know about Shelly Soffer. You have the floor.
Sure, yeah. Hey, everybody. I am Shelly Soffer. Please call me Shelly. That's my comfort name. I've been serving here in Broward for 20 and a half years, the last 18, like you all said, at Deerfield Beach High School. Go Bucks. I live, eat, sleep, and breathe education. I'm a special ed teacher. I'm a speech and language pathologist at the school. I love what I do. I love working with children. And, it just gives me light and joy to see the difference that one person can make. And, it's so endearing. They call it a work of heart. And that's 100% true. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're, again, like I said, your name is going to be on the August 18th primary election ballot. And if you are elected to the Broward County School Board District 7, if elected, what is one policy you would immediately try to change? And what evidence do you have that your approach would actually work?
So one of the policies that I would try to change immediately is making sure that the public is heard without any hurdles. I am just very confounded that the district wants to limit public speaking, because if we are in the business of serving the public, especially the youth and the generation, we need to listen to what those who are rearing them have to say. So the parents and the caretakers, they have a stake in this. They have a massive stake in this. So to limit public speaking, that's one of the very easiest and first things I want to rectify, because we need to give everybody a voice and an opportunity to say, this is a problem, or this is a need, or this is a desire, this is something we like, or this is something we don't like, because we are public servants. So that was the easiest thing. That's a no-brainer for me.
All right. Nice answer. And if you discovered that a popular program wasn't improving students' outcomes, would you vote to eliminate it, even if parents, teachers, or political allies strongly oppose you?
Absolutely not, because we have to figure out what's going wrong. If this is a popular program, if the parents and the students really love this, we need to get down to the nitty gritty and see, why is this not working? What's making it kind of wither and die? Is it that we don't have the right tools? Is it that we don't have the right access? Is it maybe we need to look at a change in staff? Maybe we need to look at a change in where it's offered, when it's offered, how it's offered. Because if this is something that the parents really want and the kids really want, then we need to really serve them. As long as it's aligning with the Florida state policies and procedures and what we call CPOMs, which are our standards, then we have an obligation and a duty to serve the public and give them what they want. Unless, and there's a big unless there's a significant price tag that goes along with it, because we have to stay within a budget and we have to keep that in mind. If something's going to cost us, let's say something ridiculous like $12 million and we just don't have it in the budget, can we still offer it? we're going to have to look at alternatives if we can offer it at a lower cost, or if there's some sort of other option that we can still maintain it, but without as much expenditure.
Okay. And as I mentioned during the introduction, that you are a school teacher at Deerfield Beach High School. And let's talk a little bit about teacher recruitment. We know that a lot of people think that teachers' salaries aren't up to par. And I'm pretty sure it's a high turnover rate now. Teachers are coming in, they don't stay as long as they used to because the pay isn't up to par. And they're going into other professional fields. So teacher recruitment and retention remain a major challenge. What would you do beyond simply increasing salaries to attract and keep high quality teachers?
So because I've lived this every day for the last 20 plus years, it's not just a matter of salary. We are, depending on your scale, either number 50 or number 51 in the nation. That's pretty bad. But more beyond that, we have to make sure that we have the right levels of support. We have a program in the county called TIER, which is giving teacher support. But the thing about this TIER program is it is almost forced in some senses on those who don't understand what it is, or we don't have enough mentors to fit the groove. Sometimes the mentors are mismatched, meaning you're going to have a mentor from one department mentoring a teacher from another department, and they don't exactly know the different standards or how to support. I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I told you real life she was going to do it. So we need to have more support, and it's not just, coming from like within the school, but we need it from the district. And it's always good to have like a buddy, somebody who's more, versed. I don't want to say age, but I want to say me acquiesced, acclimated vintage, if you will. Somebody who's got a good, strong knowledge, be that mentor, and kind of help them through. We have to make this field attractive again. Do you remember back 6 years ago during COVID when everybody's like, teacher, we love you, we miss you and everything? We need to go back. If we can go I don't even want to say it's old school, it's 6 years ago now, but if we can go back to that time when teachers were loved and adored and appreciated, I mean, we're talking like 6 years ago, we need to kind of find that feeling again. And I think another feeling that will help keep our teachers involved and keep them wanting to do this is finding a way to get the parents back involved. Bring the parents, bring the families, bring the community back in, because you all know we are busy, busy, busy. But let's find a way to bring us together and have that whole village effect. Because I know if I can do it for my kids and I can be in constant contact with my kids' teachers and I feel that I'm supported as a parent, and I do that for the students that I serve and they're feeling supported as parents, then you're getting all of these warm vibes, these, good kind of like dopamine kind of effect. And that's what keeps you going when you have the parental support and that two-way communication. I think that's a big thing that we're missing as well, is our younger teachers are afraid based on the things that have been out there, that they're almost afraid to contact a parent. And I'm like, call the parent, email the parent, text the parent. They're going to be your best friend, because if you contact them, they're going to support you. And you're going to watch this little seed grow and blossom. So my parents know when I contact them, I want to tell them the good, the bad, and the in between. Because a lot of times when we contact parents also, they're like, oh God, what did my kid do now? I know when I get those calls, I'm like, oh geez, what did my child do now? But sometimes it's like, let me tell you how awesome they are. And I want to bring the good news, because I want to make sure that we are a team. And that's what's going to keep these younger kids, younger teachers, so to speak, going.
Good answer. I like that. Wayne?
Yes, Ms. Soffer. What do you hope? What do you want to accomplish in your first 100 days in office?
The first 100 days are going to be key. There's going to be a lot of learning involved. The school district, I've said this over and over again, is an onion. There are multiple layers that we have to get to know, and there are going to be layers that we're going to discover for the first time. So my first 100 days, I want to get to know A, as much as I can, but B, I want to get FaceTime. I want to get to where people can see me and see that I'm approachable. And I want to hear what they have to say. I want to be in the schools, and I don't want to get that dog and pony show, because when you have a school board person come in, you get toured around, you get shown the things that they want you to see, but you don't get the real deal. It's like going on a cruise. You're going to hit all the ports that they want you to see, but you want to talk to the natives and really kind of get in there and see what is being kind of covered up, so to speak. That's what I want to do. There are a lot of schools in District 7, but I don't have a problem saying, okay, you know what? I want to hit at least 2 schools a day. And you can map it out, because I want to see the people that I'm representing as employees. I want to see the kids that I'm representing as our school board member, and I want to meet with the families. I want to say, I'm human. I have functions the same way as you do. I have needs the same way as you do. I have desires the same way as you do. And I'm here to listen. And I'm here to make those changes that need to be made. So my first 100 days is really truly getting to know outside of the domain that I've known, and really get a feel for what do we need here. And then after those 100 days, concentrating just on 7, let me see district-wide, what more do we need to do? Because if you think about it, I am sworn in November.
Okay.
That 100 days gets me to the end of the 3rd quarter, if you think, so to speak, like spring break-ish, right before testing season.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And let me ask you a question, because I know, did you have to resign as a teacher to run for school board? Because I know there's some type of law, resign and run law.
I was curious about that too. I was going to ask you that, but go ahead.
So here's the thing. I did not resign, and I will not resign.
Okay.
Pending the outcome on Tuesday, when I win, I have until November to maintain in my spot, to make those incredible gains, to make those connections, and do everything I can. When it's time, I put in for a leave of absence.
Yeah. That's the smart way to do it.
I won't be resigning, because that would break me to leave like that.
That's right.
I put in a leave of absence, and then I will serve for however long or until I'm termed out.
Okay, so you won't lose your pension, and
right?
You'll still maintain your seniority and everything if you take that leave of absence.
I will not lose my pension. I should maintain seniority, but again, that's something to be negotiated with the union, as we know, because we have a union for the teachers that will negotiate and everything. It's just like I'm going to be on extended leave. I was on a leave before. I came back when I had my children. So it's just going to be like that, but a little longer.
Yeah, because I asked that question because I remember when I used to work for the city of Deerfield here, been retired now over a decade now, but I remember one time I wanted to go to the military and for the reserves, and I went to the HR director and I asked her about going and serving the country, and she told me, if you go, you gotta resign. And I'm like, she made me take she forced me really to take a position. I'm like, I'm gonna be in here too long to resign. So I didn't resign, and but I felt like she robbed me of my dream of doing that at that time. And that was over 30 something years ago. But she told me, oh, you have to resign. We can't let you take no leave of absence. And then I come to find out it wasn't true. It was just, it wasn't true. But I just wanted to ask you that question.
And I wanted to, before you go on to your next question, because I was curious. I was still curious about that. I was like, how are you going to be a school teacher during the day? And then my question was going to be, how would you hold principals and district administrators accountable? And it's like you're double dipping. You know what I mean? It's like you're a teacher, and then you're okay. Well, when I go down to the school board, I'm going to get you. So I was kind of like wondering how that works. So what you explained, and I appreciate you explaining that.
Yeah, that would be a little uncomfortable, don't you think? I mean,
yeah, it would be. It would be. I mean, yeah.
If I had my way, I would still work in the schools directly with the kids while I was serving. But like you said, it's a double-edged sword. That would almost be very difficult and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially if I have to make decisions that were unpopular, and that's going to happen at some point. You have to be realistic. There are going to be times where you have to make a decision that's going to be unpopular. And you're going to have to own that decision. So,
yes.
That little bit of distance is going to be okay. I've been slowly preparing myself for this distance. I've been getting myself ready. My staff at my school, my colleagues, I adore them. They're also kind of getting ready for it. We have this running joke at school because they know I cannot and I will not talk about it at all. That is a school board policy. I will not
Right.
do anything on school campus.
Right.
Like, hey, what about him? Like, Bruno. That's our code name. We don't talk about Bruno. Nope.
Right. And my next question was, what is the single biggest issue facing the Broward County public school system right now?
I wish it could be a single issue, but honestly, based on, everything that I've learned, everything, we have a major financial crisis. The budget is a huge issue because that budget really does drive everything. And it's not just, we're not talking just like salaries for our employees. We're talking about the class offerings. We're talking about class sizes. We're talking about building health, and the conditions. We're talking about supplies. We're talking like paper and ink and toner. And I mean, the budget's a huge, I think that is the biggest crisis. I think that's the number one thing that we really truly need to concentrate on. There are a lot of other things that have to be done, by legal standards. But I think the overriding, biggest concern, in my opinion, was budget, especially learning. And just full disclosure, I knew well over a month ago about the budget issues. I was informed by somebody who's, on good standards with a lot of people on the inside. And they told me that we had over an $11 million deficit. And I've known this for probably, I want to say 4, maybe 5 weeks. And it just hit the air, last week?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you was reading my mind, because that was my next question. What are your budget priorities? Because we saw the talk of a lot of schools closing. I also know that I believe over 1,000 people was just laid off, if I remember right.
So they were talking about
some through attrition. Yeah.
So so they were trying to cut 1,000 positions through attrition and realigning not just the schools but the positions. And there's a lot of bitterness in that realigning. I'm going to be very frank. I pride myself on my honesty. So let me just be very honest, and it might tickle some people the wrong way, but you know what? I'm sorry, the truth is going to hurt sometimes. Thank you, Lizo, because truth hurts. They got rid of some of our most critical positions. They eliminated, I think, around 30 mental health positions back in, I want to say, May. And we're still very top heavy. They got rid of a couple of the wallet busters, as I'll call it, but not enough. And when we see, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to go to this person who goes to this person, who goes to this person. I mean, it's almost like the domino game. If you're getting paid these big dollars, you need to make sure that you have that information. Why do you have to go to this, that, and the next person? You need to have it ready. And what really hurts me the most is, especially because I serve, very critical populations, some very sensitive populations, to see these 30 mental health professionals get cut only to find their jobs being advertised a few weeks ago really sets a very negative tone. It concerns me. Why do we let these people go who are highly valued and highly needed, and who I've worked with and I adore? Why did we say, I'm sorry, but we can't keep you on? And then, 6-8 weeks later, their job is listed.
Why? What? I mean, was it money? I mean, advertised at a lower pay grade, or I mean, you cut someone and then you put the job back up. I'm trying to get a full understanding of that. Was it to bring more people in at a lower pay, or what? I mean,
well, let me tell you this.
It makes no sense to me from the outside looking in, and maybe it shouldn't, but I'm trying to understand the rationale of that. Yeah,
I mean, we're speaking the same language here, because when you all put me in that seat, when you all vote for me on the 18th, between now and the 18th, and y'all make sure that I get that seat, that is definitely a high priority for me. Because let's just think about this. I, as somebody who works in the schools, need my colleagues around me. I don't understand that. We could think, we could infer that was it, but we don't really know the answer, because honestly, none of us are on the inside. None of us are on these floors in the Crystal Palace making these decisions. We don't understand the rationale behind, we're going to let these positions go. And then, like I said, about, 6, maybe 8 weeks later, here they are advertised. We can't, we can't rob Peter to pay Paul. We can't keep doing this. And that, again, erodes the public trust in public county schools.
But didn't the members of the school board, didn't they, and I asked this question to other candidates, didn't they see this coming? I mean, what part, if you're saying, and you're in the classroom, Shelly, and you saw the $11 million shortfall, why did they not see this coming? I mean, and that's why but I'll let you answer that. And I just wanted to know, just how do you feel about, I know you want to be a member of that, but do you feel like the leadership are doing a adequate job with the taxpayers' money in a way that you can answer that without getting in any trouble?
Oh, if I get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, I've taken some hits in the past, and I'm not afraid to take the hits, because the truth is the truth is the truth. And
right.
Good trouble.
Yeah, thank you. I think in some instances, and I'm not going to say globally, I think in some instances, ignorance is bliss. Mm-hmm. I think in some instances, not knowing until the last minute is comforting to some people. I also think that there are others out there who will try to do their best to make things right, but in the end, they can't fix the gushing wound. You can't put a Band-Aid over, a big gushing wound. Sometimes I don't think they have all the puzzle pieces, and there's pieces missing, and they really can't get that round peg into a square hole. I don't want to blame any one individual. I really don't.
Right,
and I really can't say, because I'm not in the inside, but I am disturbed when I go to these meetings, these school board meetings. And the one thing that I have claimed about, the one thing that I have spoken out about, is when we have high-ranking individuals at the school board buried in their phones and not paying attention to the information being processed or being relayed. That's why I said sometimes ignorance is bliss to them. And I've called it out. I've put it out there on public record. And I called them out about, I'm so glad that you guys are paying attention to me and you don't have your phones in your hand, because that's a school board policy for our students. I don't know why our district staff can't follow it. I mean, I put it out there.
Well, that's true.
So,
right. That's correct. Daryl.
So to answer your question in a nutshell, I think there is maybe a small incidence of it being intentionally misleading, just like as an SOS. Save our soul kind of situation. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get reprimanded. But I think the overriding thing is that just not paying attention is to our detriment.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Because someone certainly will try to take your words and spin it.
Good safe answer. It is.
Good safe answer.
It is.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with the truth. I mean, some people don't like the truth, I mean, but the truth has to be told, How would people know it? I mean, it might make them feel uncomfortable, but they need more people to speak up, and they have to be able to be a good listener, and that's one of the things that I say on this podcast. I always ask the candidate that come appear on our podcast. I say, if you're elected, will you listen to the people?
Right.
God gave us all 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you should listen more than you talk. And that's my thinking, and that's our thinking. Yeah. So I always ask a candidate that, will you listen to the people? Well, let me ask you that. Will you listen to the people if you're elected?
Well, and I love that you asked that. Can I just give you one of these real quick? Because not only will I listen, hold on.
No, that's okay.
It's okay. You don't have to mute.
That's okay.
He's part of the family too.
This is live.
So of all 3 of my dogs, she's the smallest, and she's the one that everybody has to watch out for. So to answer your question real quick, I am a pretty doggone good listener because my husband is deaf. So I'm not just listening for my benefit, I'm listening for his benefit as well.
Right.
So I like to joke about, I don't have just 2 ears, I have 4, because I'm listening for him and for me. So do I listen? Yes. I believe in whole body listening. Now, are there times where I'm not 100% tuned in? Yeah, that's natural. That's human. I might get distracted just like anybody else, who has a heartbeat. It happens. But I truly believe in whole body listening. I want to have conversations. I want to have hard conversations. I want to have difficult conversations. The good thing about the school board is that we are nonpartisan. Okay.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I've been asked time and again as I'm knocking on doors, well, are you a Democrat or a Republican? And so you have to listen. And I respond, well, this is nonpartisan. And the truth is, as a teacher, I am not allowed to let any of my students know which way I go. And I won't discuss it because I'm not going to discourage and I'm not going to encourage and I'm not going to sway one way or the other. So as I'm meeting these potential voters and I'm letting them know about this, I say, but I want to listen to what's important to you.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. All right.
So,
I
yeah.
like to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that question forever on
That's
this
right.
podcast. When a
Exactly.
candidate comes on here, will you listen to the people? Because we have some elected officials in this city that right now that's not listening to the people. But we'll talk about that on another time.
I'll watch that podcast. I'm waiting on that one.
Yeah, we will. So let's talk a little bit about discipline. And I'm going to just give you an example. One of my friends, he went to pick his son up and from school. And when he was driving up to the school, he saw two young boys running. One boy was chasing the other boy, and as he got a little closer, it was his son chasing another guy. But the guy he was chasing had just took his nice, I don't know what the jacket is called. It's a nice jacket. And he asked him, could he try it on? I like your jacket. And he took the jacket and he took off running with it. So the guy, the child that's jacket was taken, he was running. Hey, give me my jacket back. And his father just happened to be pulling up and he saw it and he swung around and he said, hey, what's going on? And he pulled up on the guy and he said, hey, what's going on? And his son caught up to him and he said, hey, he took my jacket. So long story short, the police got involved and this young man, the parents pushed it really hard because one of the parents is a police officer and didn't like that. So the child ended up in a program and part of just the charges being dropped or whatever, I think they wanted to press charges. He had to complete a program. And which he did, and they had to appear before this board or whatever with I think it was school board or sheriff's office or whatever. And this young man, he logged onto the computer, and he dropped the F-bomb. I don't even want an F-bomb be here, And when I see you and your son, it's not over. I'm gonna get you, So he made a direct threat, So this leads me to my question. What is your position on discipline in schools? How do you balance keeping students in classroom and protecting teachers and other students from disruptive, dangerous behavior like what I just explained to you?
Boy, can I relate to this one. Ooh, Lordy. I can relate to this as a teacher, but also as a parent. So let me give you a story about what happened last year. You all met my son before we got on the podcast.
Yes.
My beautiful big boy.
Yes.
First week of school, he comes to me. Mom, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get suspended. Whoa. Mom, this kid, he tried to get me to fight and I'm going to get, and this is like so I'm the kind of parent, he's coming across the street. I go right there and I stop the principal dead in her tracks and I am not moving until she hears me out because my kid, he tells me he got jumped and the security was all on him and everything. So, and right in my tracks, I said, I want tape pulled. I want to know what happened. I want to know, did my child instigate? Did my child retaliate? Or is my son telling me everything that he just told me is that validated? I said, I want to know by tomorrow. I wasn't going to be like too forceful about it because I want to know what happened. And I know that there are cameras everywhere. Get the call the very next day. The SRO looked at it and sure as sunshine, my son, everything he told me, he ducked, he dived, he wove around trying to get away from this kid and everything. And yes, the security did yell and they raised their voice and everything, but I understand because we're human. But the fact of the matter is, you have one child aggressing another child. And I needed to know what happened. And I said, look, I need to talk to the SRO because we need to stop this now. And we talked to the SRO, and I knew I had a choice. I knew I could press charges against the other child for battery, or I knew that we could just have a conversation with the parents and say, look, you messed up, but let's get it right. I chose the latter. I had the SRO have a conversation with the parents and say, look, this is not the kind of behavior we want. You have one chance. You touch this child again. We've got paperwork right here. We will move forward and we will press charges. So I believe in second chances. I believe in giving chances when appropriate. Now, there are those times where things are not going to be appropriate and we are not going to give a second chance because you have to mitigate what is the offense. In this situation that you described, a child stole another child's jacket. What happened and why? And what kind of solution do you think is appropriate? You know, do we want this child to be separated? Do we want this child to have to go to another school where they could perpetuate the incident if they are not given the right kind of, I want to say, counseling or advice or some sort of, I mean, there are programs out there. There's Big Brothers, Big Sisters programs. There's mentoring programs. There are opportunities because we don't know if this is a one-time thing or if this is a learned behavior. And these are things that we really have to think about. You know, do we need to go straight to the extreme? No. You know, talking to our public defender, Gordon Weeks, he described some things that are happening. And unfortunately, it happens a little too often. And we really need to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Why is this happening? Where is it coming from? How frequently is it happening? What's the home life like? Do they have mentors? Do they have somebody they can relate to? Do they have somebody that can guide them? They need some sort of like anger management counseling? You know, in the schools, even in the younger grades, these are the things we really need to look at. I mean, do we just need to jump to the extreme? There are times where we're going to have to be a little bit more forceful. I mean, if it's some serious stuff, yeah. But when it's like lower level, we have options.
Yeah. And you're a parent. You're also a school teacher. And if elected, you'll be on the school board. So my next question is, what role should parents have in determining what their children are exposed to in school, particularly regarding books, sensitive subjects, and age-appropriate material?
I absolutely love this question. I ask this all the time. As a public school servant, we teach the standards. It is outlined online. There are state standards. Okay. As parents, we get to decide what our kids learn, how they learn, when they learn. Or at least that's what we think. We also have the choice to opt out of things. And I think every parent needs that choice to learn how to opt out. You know, my child's in middle school. I had the choice to opt out of, you know, the sex ed curriculum. I have the choice to allow all three of my children to opt out of checking out a book from the library. Parents have these options. We can't always prevent them from evil. My son was exposed to something at a very young age by a peer, unbeknownst to us. So as much as we try to protect our children, sometimes it comes from peer groups and it's not something that's curriculum based.
Right.
And as much as we try to protect them from everything, sometimes we fail as parents. The fact that my child at the time when he was young was exposed to things that no child at that age should have seen, we had to face it head on right then and there. I believe in giving the parents the rights to opt out of these things. I believe in giving the parents the right to say, this is something that I want to handle at home on my own. So sensitive things, you know, reproductive things, you know, likes and dislikes, all the concerns, our sense of ethics, our sense of morals, our sense of right and wrong start in the home. And we need to let the parents make those choices as long as it's not disrupting the standards that we have to teach by law.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And as you were speaking just now, you touched on this. As a candidate, would, you know, would you ban or restrict access to books in response to a parent's objections?
So we have to really think about what is the law. And we do have laws now. We had a parent, when I was on the book selection committee, object to certain books in our library. And we have to look at the literary value of these objections.
Mm-hmm.
If it is something that goes along with an approved state curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
regular, advanced, whatever it may be, then we have a duty and an obligation to uphold that this is going to be presented in the curriculum, despite the parent's objection. And if the parent truly objects, then we need to look to see, is this curriculum the right for the child? Because if it's part of a set curriculum, we can't punish the rest for the will of one.
Mm-hmm.
If the parent is objecting and they have a bona fide, sustainable objection to said curriculum or to said choice, then we're going to have to really look at that. And if it's certifiably correct, then we're going to have to say, sorry, but you can't have this because this is what the law says. This is what the state standards say. And even though you want this, you're going to have to find another option.
Yeah. And as you're saying too, what are your thoughts on and I know you pretty much almost gave the answer just now, like civil rights, Black history. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I 100% am about history. History was not my strength in high school, by the way. But I think it's valid and it's critical that we learn everything that has shaped us as a country and as a people. I don't believe in striking out and minimizing or spinning the truth of what happened. Facts are facts, they're irrefutable. Opinions are something else. I believe that we need to maintain the facts of what happened, the facts of the civil rights movement, the facts of the Black History Month and the contributions of our minority populations. Not just because I'm raising 3 brown boys, but because this is history and it's other minority populations as well. When you think about it, there's so much contention in the world today. And in spite of the continued racism that is out there, because I'm not gonna lie, in spite of the continued Islamophobic and anti-Semitic and all these other tropes that are out there, we take for granted that a lot of the things that we have today and a lot of things that we use today were developed by marginalized populations.
Yeah.
So even at Deerfield Beach, I don't know if you guys caught the commission meeting where there were discussions about, budget limitations and potentially eliminating the Martin Luther King parade. And
we watched.
We're part of that here. We see it here.
Yeah.
So you saw me then speak up and speak out. And I don't want to say so much threatened because that's not the right word, but I was very upset and I surely advocated to maintain that. And it's not just because of what they thought. They're like, oh, well, yeah. No, we're not taking these away from the children. Yeah. The children have a right to learn, participate, and support and live it. Because if you think about it, we live things that don't belong to us. Time and time again. We live things within our faiths and within our cultures. So we're doing it. So why can't we do it in public ed as long as it's factual?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because it's like even here in Deerfield, at the budget hearings here back in June, where I remember the city manager said, they can't even fund Women's History Month now.
Which is crazy.
Women's History Month.
That's coming from Tallahassee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just sad.
It's forcing local government and the county's hand. It's forcing them to maybe do something that they're not comfortable with, but that's coming from the governor. What are you going to do?
Yeah. But you always have to look at if this is an initiative that's important, if this is an initiative that needs to be done and everything, then we have to be creative. We have to be inventive. We have to look for other sources. We have to look for grants. We have to look for scholarships. We have to look for, people who are willing to fund it. You
Mhm.
know, we can't just say, oh, we don't have the money in the budget. Well, okay, I'm sorry. If this is
Mhm.
something truly critical, then we need to find a way. And that's why we have those student advisory councils, and we have those SAC committees, because sometimes we don't have things in our budget and we have to tap other budgets and we have to ask for things. So we have
Mhm.
to look for other avenues for this, because we can't just, oh, well, no, not acceptable.
Yeah. And Shelly, you have classroom experience. What are teachers telling you that school board members aren't hearing? And then we see some questions in
Yeah,
there
we
too.
got
We
some really
want to,
good questions.
after you answer that, we see some questions
Yeah,
there.
we
We
got some
want
really
to,
good questions.
We
yeah.
don't have enough time for this, you guys. Right. So let's just go with what's happened this week so far, truly. I've seen reports that there are like huge class sizes. Now, I've seen with my own two eyes, we have some really large classes at Deerfield. One of my very, very good colleagues, she teaches the ACE courses, which are your advanced courses. They're stacked at 35 deep in a smaller classroom. And she came to me and she said, Soffer, there are 35 kids in each one of my ACE courses. That is too many for this kind of a course and this depth of material and this, this matter of everything. They're literally stacking these kids in my class, and some of them don't even belong there because they don't have the scores to belong there, but we're stacking it because it makes the county look good and because we don't have enough teachers. So that's one of the big complaints, is that we have too many kids in the classes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough employees for the classes. I've seen, and I know it's happened before, that there are subs teaching classes already in the beginning because we haven't hired teachers. Right now, we have a situation where we are looking actively to hire a particular teacher. And because we have an employee on campus already who has those certifications, they took this employee out of A department and put them in B department until we can hire for B department and then let them come back to A department, to the deficit of the department that's without now. Then you've got your environmental concerns where you have rooms that are too hot, too cold. We have buildings that don't have AC, and we have to move classes around. My son's media center, or my son's art classroom has no AC, so they moved to the media center. So here's his teacher who built this beautiful, gorgeous, room, this art room that is just, she worked so hard to get this larger space, and she decorated the ever-loving daylights out of it. Comes Monday morning, it's a sweatbox. That's deflating. That's demoralizing. And when you talk about teacher turnover, when you're not feeling valued, things like that, it hurts. My colleague behind me got their ceiling tiles replaced, which was great. But again, that's another Band-Aid fix, because I know it's going to be a matter of time that we're going to have a leak in that room again, because I don't think they patched the problem that happened before. There's, different things that are going on outside of class sizes, outside of, ACs falling across the district in different buildings. Truly, I really don't think we have enough time in the podcast to go on, but everything that you hear, I would say probably 90% of it's valid. 10% of it might be a little gripey.
Okay. And we have some questions from the audience. You can be brief. You don't have to go into great detail, but I want to show you the question as well. I heard you say Miss Soffer is a teacher. Can you clarify whether she's a teacher or a speech language pathologist? A SLP doesn't teach standards as she's implying. I don't know what I'm not.
Someone named Brooke Brody.
Well, she can see it.
It's okay. I'm familiar with this individual. It's fine. And she's a lovely person. I'm not going to say anything rude. So I am on a teacher contract. And we do have standards because we support the standards. And yes, I teach. I've taught before, and you can look it up. I taught French at the University of Florida. I taught peer counseling at Deerfield Beach High School. I taught learning strategies at Deerfield Beach High School. Those are classes with standards. As a speech and language pathologist, yes, I have IEP goals that are meant to help the kids master the standards that are being taught in the classroom. So when they say I don't teach, who else is going to teach the articulation, which is a standard under CPOMs? Who else is going to teach the semantics or the syntax, which are listed under CPOMs? Who else are going to teach social skills, which are also listed under CPOMs?
Okay.
And
Teaching isn't just, reading, write, math, science, and electives. We
right.
teach standards. We teach communication.
Mhm.
We teach that which is not mastered. So yes,
Right.
we teach.
Okay. And the next question is from look like Sandra. It says, do you support current oh no, that's not it.
Well, that current discipline
I want to
matrix.
Well,
get
let's answer that
from
right now. The discipline
Yeah.
matrix is awful.
Yep.
I'm
Do
just
you
gonna say it's
support
awful.
I will come back to that. Do you support what about the discipline of Black students, and do you support expulsion?
Okay, so discipline is a problem across the county.
Mhm.
And let's just be honest, we have a disproportionate amount of minority populations who are being disciplined. And
Mhm.
I think it depends on who's meting out the discipline, because sometimes it's more proportionately our Black, brown, minorities. Yes, there's no question about that. Do I support expulsion? I think it depends on what happened. There are certain cases where it absolutely 100% needs to be done, unquestionably needs to be done. So yes, I definitely, and when I say expulsion, they don't need to be on that campus, but that doesn't mean they don't need to be educated, because there are alternatives. They can be taught at another school that's more appropriate with the right levels of support. And we do have them, because every child needs to be taught.
Right.
Like the McFadden Center, I believe, is one of the places,
McFadden.
correct?
Well, we have a really
McFadden.
awesome school. We have Cypress Run,
Okay.
which is really well done. And I've seen a lot of kids who've had a lot of problems, who've gone through the program in Cypress Run and who've gone through everything, and they've come back to a regular population school. They've done exceptionally well. We have Cross Creek, which is another school for students who have some significant behavioral problems. And those kids do better in those smaller pops with the support that they need. I believe, yes, we can still have them there. We just have to find the right school and the right fit, and 100% yes.
Okay.
But they might not need to be in these bigger schools where they're going to fall to the wayside and have these issues.
Okay. And there's that other question I had there. Do you support the current discipline matrix?
No, I don't. It can be manipulated. And I've seen it manipulated both in favor of and to the detriment of students. No, I do not.
Okay. And this last one here, there's a there's a disparity in punishment. How would you address this in Broward schools?
This is a big one, because you have to look at it globally, and you have to see, is it truly, and the discipline matrix, again, you have to keep in mind that these are individuals, these are humans. Typically, they're administrators checking off boxes. It's gotten better in the 20 years I've been there, but it is not foolproof. It is not, it's still subject to the person doing all the clicking of the buttons. I think that we really need to look at discipline as a whole, and we need to look at it, and we need to take the familiarity out of it. Because if you think about it, when we're disciplined in the general public by law enforcement, it's not people who are familiar with us. We have to go before a judge who's never met us, never seen us, never anything like that. I think if we have a disciplinary panel who's never met the child, who is looking just at the facts of what happened without the extras, that could be a good start. And if we have to consider, well, this child has this history, or this child has, that needs to go to somebody who's not familiar, because I've seen people be too lenient and I've seen people be too harsh at the school level. So that's something we really need to look into.
April Lewis Boloch said, what would you do with the Deerfield Beach Elementary School auditorium?
So I've already looked into that. I asked what the status is of that, because that's been on hold with the district since December of 2023. There was supposedly this agreement between the school board and the city about a project to get it to be refurbished and reused. Let's bring it back together. But it's literally been sitting on hold. Nothing's been done. Now we know we have budget issues, we have budget problems and everything, but the fact that it's been sitting on the back burner 2.5 years now, that's not fair to the community at all. That's not fair to those who want to use it, including the school, including the community. something should not be sitting fallow for 2.5 years. We need to see why it's been sitting fallow. What's the justification for sitting fallow? How do we get it to where it needs to be usable? And if it's not usable, then what other options do we have? Do we need to demolish it? Do we need to hand it over to something else? What can we do? Because the other thing we don't want to do is we don't want it to sit there and deteriorate more and then become a health problem.
I remember that old auditorium because we
went to school
went
there.
to Deerfield Elementary, and it was
long time
on
ago.
the west side of the school there, and it was to me it was big as a child.
Exactly.
I don't know if it still looks like that.
Haven't been in there in over 50 years.
I haven't been to that school, and it's been a long
50
time.
years,
but yeah.
please.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Terry Scott gave me a very good history of what it looked like and how it was used and everything. And I appreciate that he was able to give me, because I'm not from Broward originally. I'm from North Florida. So he gave me a really good history of, what it was like and how it was. And I got a really good, deep, detailed history of a lot of things, and I appreciated that. And like Pastor Bowles, I don't know if you know Pastor George Bowles.
Yes, we know.
He also gives me some really good, beautiful, wonderful anecdotes and stories and tells me all these wonderful things. And we use these community members and everything. We have them come in and we have them tell the kids about how things used to be. And we're talking about, civil rights and everything. And I want firsthand, accounts. I want these first person accounts to let these kids know. So we were talking about the auditorium, and that's that's one of these things that we need to see. Why are we sitting here? Why is the pause button 2.5 years? But we have too many projects that are on pause for too long, and we need to really and it's not just Deerfield, it's across the county.
Okay.
Yes, and Shelly, what would you do about teacher burnout and excessive administrative requirements?
I just got that one today from a friend. All right. So we do have some administrators who really do truly micromanage. Whether they realize it or not, it needs to be addressed. I have already spoken to some people out in the district and some who are not district employed about this. And we've had these beautiful conversations about what needs to be done, because we have to weigh out what has to be done by policy and procedure versus what's being a little extra, what's being controlling. We have to have difficult conversations. I have a friend right now, literally before the podcast, half an hour before the podcast. I swear you guys must have like a little camera in the house and must know we had this conversation today. We're being told we have to sign in every morning and, we have to be. So that violates our teacher contract. And when I told this individual it violates the teacher contract, I said, have you talked to your administrator about how it's a violation of your contract? Have you talked to your union steward about that? Oh, well, the union steward just going along with it because they're afraid of the administration. Then you have a voice. Use it. So I already did, and I already related it to the union. The union's already gone to the principal. I'm like, you can't do this. So when you have these problems of micromanagement, and we had it at my school even last year, and we were told how this is going, when that's going and everything, you have to find somebody with a steel backbone, somebody who's willing to speak up and speak out. Every school has somebody who's not afraid to stick their neck out. Do it. I'll do it. I don't have a problem with it. Because if you're feeling some kind of way and you're feeling micromanaged and you don't like it, tell somebody. It happens to my whole entire job class. All the SLPs, we were told we had to do X, Y, and Z, and they didn't tell us why we had to do X, Y, and Z. But like, we're not doing that. That's a violation of the Paperwork Reduction Act. You can go, and it took a while for them to say, oh, well, this has become a policy now because of a state complaint. So because of the state complaint, we're having to do this, which is why you're having. I'm like, well, why didn't you guys say that in the first place? Why did you make us and really put more on our plate without saying, this is why we have to do this?
I got one.
Talk to them.
And what should happen when a school consistently underperforms?
We got to figure out why. I mean, there are some schools historically a while ago were underperforming, and there were some changes that were made. They did some shuffling. They moved some teachers. I believe, which one was it? I think it was maybe a decade ago or so. It was was it Deerfield Park in Deerfield that had some shakeups?
Might have been, yeah.
It was
They're
Deerfield
A school
Park.
now, I believe, A or B. They rose up.
Yeah, so there was
Yeah.
some shifting around and everything. And I want to say it was Deerfield Park. Sometimes you have to shift things around and shake things up to make things happen. Sometimes people, and it's not just, I'm not saying just Deerfield Park, but I think that was the one that got shifted and shook up. Sometimes people get a little too comfortable and you have to shake things up and shake it around. If something is consistently underperforming, you can start with, you have a couple choices. You can do bottom up or you can top down. What the district did is they did top down. They said, okay, we're going to shift things around. We're going to bring in some new administration. We're going to bring in, some new initiatives and some new everything. So the one who left and the one that came in, both of them got to see different schools, different sites, and both of them turned it up and turned it around, which is good. Sometimes you need to get a little uncomfortable to be a little bit more effective. If you shake things up and it's still underperforming, you still have a big problem. So another thing we have to look at is community engagement. How engaged is the community? How engaged are the parents? What is the home life like? What can we do to help alleviate some of the problems? Are there books in the home? Can we get access to books in the home? What kind of aftercare programs can we have? What kind of after school programs can we have? What's the budget going to cost for this? Can we get grants? Can we get scholarships? Can we get funding? How can we mediate this? What can we do as a system to help the community? Because remember, when you have an underperforming school, you have a community that's hurting. You have property values that are hurting. You have people that are hurting, and you don't want that. You want, let's be honest, you want to be a stellar rock star. You want everybody to want to dogfight it out to get into that community. And that's what we need to aim for. We need to all be diamonds and shine and have people going crazy to get in. We need to have, if you have a school choice, you need to be able to kind of have a lottery system and kind of duke it out to get there, because that's the school you want. And I think every school needs to be that.
Okay. And I'm going to read this last question here from our viewing audience. It says, do you believe teachers have a strong union?
So I've answered this before. You're only as strong as those who belong. They have a very strong leader who is oftentimes misunderstood. She's very outspoken, and some people are very intimidated. Some people can be very misled by her tone, but she fights like no other union leader has fought in the 20 years I've been in this district. There are times where we were stronger, unquestionably, but I fault a lot of the weakening of the union right now to political maneuverings. When the governor changed how the unions were upheld, meaning we could no longer have it automatically deducted from our paychecks.
Yeah.
It has to come out of our private accounts. There are some people who are like, I'm not giving anybody access to my private account. It's not happening.
Union busting.
There's union busting. That was a big hit. There are, people who say, well, this person's getting this exorbitant amount of money, and why am I doing? Because this, you have to take a look. Unions have been stronger in the past across the board, and it's not just the teachers union. It's many unions have been stronger in the past. When you have political maneuverings that weaken it, that's something that needs to be considered. The threshold to maintain unions has been weakened as well. It used to be that you could have X amount of members and you'd be okay. But now if you don't have, they went up from 50% membership up to 60% membership. So there's definitely a lot of union busting. You have to remember that Florida's a right to work state.
Right.
For those who don't like the union, who are anti-union, I'm going to ask if you've ever been to a state that has no union ability, where you cannot unionize. How did you fare there? How would you fare there? And we have one right across the border where individuals have to bargain for their own. So do we have a strong union? I would say we have a strong union who fights like crazy to maintain things, but with all these laws and regulations and everything coming in, the union busting is quite effective. And it's to the detriment of every single teacher, whether a union member or not.
I know in the 70s and 80s growing up, I remember the unions were very strong here in Deerfield Beach. I remember growing up as a kid when they were picketing, going to school. I'm watching the teachers out there picketing, not knowing what's going on. But I remember the unions were very strong in the 70s, the 80s, and somewhat of the 90s, I believe, and somewhere along the line. I don't know what happened. Like you said, government, the state governors regulations and trying to bust the union. So I know where things went wrong, and that's all I have.
If you think about it, as far as a union goes, in the 20 years that I've been here, we've never had to pay our insurance. But with the budget woes and everything, concessions had to be made.
Right.
None of us are happy about it. Not a single one of us are happy about it. So with the fact that now we're going to have to pay, part of our insurance and everything after 20 years of not paying for it.
Is that a set amount? Is that a set amount?
I haven't seen the facts and figures, but there are 3 layers of insurance. One will remain free. The other 2 will not. The fact that we were able to hold off for as long as we have, because they've been trying to get us to pay for our insurance for golly gee, over 5 years now. The fact that we've held out for 5 years is a testament to the strength of the union.
Yeah. And just look for it to keep going up because like I say, I worked here at the city. Me and my brother worked there at Deerfield 25 years. So, once you open that door, just look for it to continue to keep. Just look for the politicians.
If it's a set amount, if it's just a one set amount, like yes, but don't give them the option to go up as they please. Okay, we'll donate $25 per paycheck. Or $25. Yeah, $15 a paycheck towards the health insurance. But don't give them that. If it comes to that, don't give them the option where they have to. They could just go in and next year they say, oh well, we got to go up $30 and then $50. The next thing you know, you're paying $700-800. So that's where our union messed up at with us. But
yeah,
if you held out for 5 years, that's good.
Sorry. No. The thing about the insurance is we started off a long time ago with being self-insured, well over a decade ago, because that was supposed to save the district money. And it was at the time saving the district money, but I told you district has been misspending money and they have not been careful with other people's money. And they've really blown through all of the savings that we had. And we have what's considered a Cadillac plan. And, you have to put out RFPs, which are requests for proposals and everything. But everything that's come in has not held the same standard, or if they've tried to keep the same standard, it was just astronomical in its cost and everything. So it's something that we really need to look into as well. And it's something that I'm willing to look into because I'm a healthcare provider. Obviously, you have to look into insurances. What are they going to cover at what cost to the district, at what cost to the consumer? And we have to weigh out what other large size counties, what do they have? What do they cover? What's it costing the county? What's it costing the consumer? Because you've heard time and again from our employees that to cover a family member is outrageous in our county.
It is.
So as much as we love our plan, is it truly the best plan for us, especially at this cost that's coming in now? It's something we really have to look into.
Yeah, sound like Deerfield Beach. I mean, what you just described is a replica of pretty much what happened here. We were self-sufficient as far as our insurance, and then it's almost astronomical now here and outrageous what they keep throwing at us, and then you're losing so much. Everything is, the insurance is going high, the deductions are going up, but the level of service that we're getting with our insurance here is shameful. And that's what I say. It's very shameful here.
Yeah, it's the same in the county for us. It's our costs are going up. What we have to pay, our out-of-pocket expenses are going up, and it's covering less. So
pay more, cover less. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the big multi-millionaire CEOs there, and they're pocketing a lot of money. We know that. So my last question for you, Shelly, and before we close you out, if the voters elect you and 4 years from now nothing substantially improves in District 7, who should be held accountable? You, the superintendent, the school board, or the system itself?
Listen, if I can't get things turned around, if I fail the people that I love, the communities that I serve, I won't seek re-election because they can blame me.
That's what I say.
I will take it. If I can't take things and I can't make things around, if I can't push the right buttons, I will look at the one in the mirror. I will be the one to say, I'm sorry. I will take it like a man or like a woman in my case.
All right.
Great question. Great answer. I say the same thing here for me running here. If I can't make a difference, I'm gone. Someone else can have it. Or if I got to do something corrupt or be part of something, they can have it. My name and my character means more to me than anything.
Right. Okay. So we've been talking to Shelly Soffer. She is a candidate for Broward County School Board District 7, and her name is on the primary election ballot. Early voting has already started, and it goes through to the 16th, I believe, and then it stops for one day, and then the primary election starts next Tuesday. So she's asking for your vote. So, Shelly, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I think you can do it in 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to look into that camera and tell the voters of Broward County, Florida, why they should elect you as the next school board representative in District 7. You have 2 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before and I've said it again. Experience matters. You know, I'm not just a community member and I'm not just a parent, and that word just really bothers me. But I am an advocate. I teach. This is my daily living as an employee, as a parent, as a community member. I have sought to serve these communities in various ways. And if you don't think that I'm the right person, don't vote for me. I'm fine with that. But if you want to know who I really am, ask the people I serve. They'll tell you the stories. They'll tell you the truth. If I haven't convinced you by now, I don't know what more I can do. But I've made decisions. I've made very hard decisions. I've made unpopular decisions because I'm capable of that. I faced hard truths head on, and I've taken the hits, and I'm still coming, and I'm still going. See, most people think I have 3 very good reasons: Zachary, Aaron, and Henry. But I have 13 more beyond that because my littlest one just entered kindergarten. So I've got 13 years that I'm going to be sitting here hitting back and hitting hard to make sure that everyone, not just in District 7, but across the county, gets what we need to produce strong, smart, knowledgeable students who are going to go out and make a difference in the world, like the nearly 2 decades of students that I've already served and who are coming back, who are visiting, and who are supporting me now. I'm Shelly Soffer, District 7 candidate for school board. Please elect me on Tuesday.
And are you on social media? Tell them how they can find you on social media and how they could donate to your campaign if they'd like to donate to you.
If you would like to, we literally have 1 day left to accept donations. Tomorrow is the cutoff. ShellySoffer4schools.com is my website. Shelly Soffer on Facebook. You can find me there. It's Shelly Soffer for Schools. You can find me at Deerfield Beach High School. You know, I cannot talk politics there, but if you want to meet me in person, just come say, I want to meet the girl. They won't like it right now, but I'll wave hi to you because I can't politic on campus, but I can meet you off campus.
Thank you.
All right. We've been talking to Shelly Soffer. She's a candidate for Broward County School Board District 7. Thank you so very much. You did, and that was an outstanding. I don't know if
kept it real.
Been on a podcast before, but you blast those questions right back at us. You know, you answered them.
You kept it a
and
buck.
you kept it 100, as the kids would say. You kept it a buck. You know.
Yep.
And she's out there at Deerfield Beach High School. Go Bucks again. We are
right.
alumni here, the Mighty
That's
Bucks.
right.
Outstanding interview. We want to wish you good luck on August the 18th. And when you win, you can come back here on the award-winning Adams Brothers podcast and say, hey, I was on there, your podcast, and I got elected right after I left your podcast. So we'd like to see you back here.
Yes.
You're not the God's ears, man. Tell you.
All right. So, Shelly Soffer, good luck.
You have
to you.
a great
Thank
evening.
and have a good rest of your evening.
And good luck.
We'll be right back with a pop-up podcast.